Hello YouTube and welcome back to Traps Tuesday Toots. Today we're going to go over some of the basics of Redstone, just as a refresher for anyone that doesn't know how Redstone works or what the different components are capable of. So we're just going to quickly go over the basics of each of the components in Redstone and we'll see what they can do. So let's get started. For starters, we have redstone dust. Redstone dust is what makes power in Minecraft. So if you want to power something in Minecraft, you use redstone dust. It just gets placed on the ground and it just looks like this. And one of the things to note, anything that the redstone looks like it's pointing to will get powered. So this block will get powered here. Whereas this isn't pointing off in this direction, so this block won't get power from this redstone. So that's good to know. Now, if it was something like this, even though it doesn't look like it's pointing at it, it will get powered because this block is powered. So certain items like glowstone lamps and I believe droppers and hoppers and things would get powered in this scenario, but not if it was up on top. So if you had this block right here, this is not going to turn on, but that one will because this block is powering that. So blocks can power other items if the block is powered by having redstone on top of it. But that is that. So redstone dust does have a maximum length of 15 blocks from the original source. So it's 16 strength at the source, which means it can travel 15 blocks after that. And I'll show you that in just a second. This is a redstone repeater. So if you want to extend that line, you need a redstone repeater in line in order to extend that. Also, redstone repeaters add a tick of delay. So if you want something to happen after something else, if you add a repeater, it will happen one tick later. This is a comparator. It works much like a redstone repeater, except that what it does is it extends the signal as strong as the signal is back here. So if there's a signal strength coming in that's 15, then this block will be powered with a strength of 15. However, if there's a signal strength of 4, then this will only get a power of 4. So that's how redstone comparators work. They also compare other items. So if you have a if you have a chest or a hopper or a dropper or any item back here that has an item in it, it will then take a signal off of that based on the capacity of that item. We'll go over that a little bit in just a second. This is a redstone block. It puts out a full 16 strength redstone signal, which means it can travel off 15 redstone dust in any direction. And this is a redstone torch, which does the same thing. The difference here is redstone blocks can be moved, but cannot ever be turned off. So they can be moved using pistons and things, but they cannot be turned off, whereas redstone repeaters can actually get turned off. We'll go over that in just a second. So to start with, we'll go ahead and use a torch right here. And as you can see, again, this goes out 15 blocks. And then it stops. Now, if you want to extend that, you can go ahead and put down a repeater right here, and it will extend another 15 blocks. Now, you'll notice this block is not getting powered because this is a repeater. Redstone dust powers the block below it. Redstone repeater does not. So if you don't want to power the block below it, put a repeater, and that will extend the signal, but it will not power the block below it. So if you want this powered, you're going to have to figure out some loop around kind of system to make that work, which there are a few different designs that would work. We're not going to go over those today, but they exist. Now, put that back. Now, as I was saying with the redstone comparator, if I put a comparator here, and then I take a signal off of this redstone block, this block is putting in a redstone signal of 15, and currently, obviously that's less because this is only a redstone signal of a little bit. But even if I do this, this would extend this out to a full strength. So the comparator has a lot of strength to put in, but if I put it on subtract mode, now it is subtracting this full strength. So it's like 15 coming off of this, but it's subtracting 15, which equals 0, and you don't have anything there. And we can show that again by doing the same experiment right here with this is now a signal of 15, as you can see. If I throw in a comparator and put it on subtract mode, and I bring in this signal, which by this point is, so that's 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10. So it's a signal strength of 10 getting subtracted from a signal strength of 15, which equals 5. And so, as you can see, 5 lamps are lit because we took 15 minus 10 and got 5. And that's how that works. So that is that. Now, as I was saying with the comparator, if I stick down a chest here and I put some items in it. Let's put a full stack of redstone in it. You'll see that it has a signal strength, but it only has a signal strength of 1. And that's because that is a proportion of what a 27 slot chest can hold. This is 1 full stack in a 27 slot chest. Now if I put down, instead of a chest, a hopper, and I put in a full stack of redstone dust, now we have a signal strength of 3. So all of these are glowing here. And if I instead put down a dispenser with a full stack of redstone in it, now you get a signal strength of 2, because this has 9 slots and 1 of them is filled. So that's the difference. That's how you figure it out. There is some math out there that actually calculates exactly how many items it is per redstone dust, but basically just know that you're going to get a full 16 if you completely fill up a dispenser or a hopper or a chest, and you're going to get less than that depending on percentage of volume filled. Now redstone blocks, they can get moved if you want to move their signal source. So if I do that, we can move it out and change what's powered. Whereas redstone torches, you can't move a redstone torch, but what you can do is you can power a redstone torch. So if I power the block that the redstone torch is on, that will turn off. And that also goes if the redstone torch is stacked, whether it's on the side here. So this would turn off this torch, and it would also turn off this torch. And then if we kill that, obviously those turn on. And so you can turn them on and off by sending signals back and forth that way. So that is how a redstone torch works. Now this is an observer. It also puts out a signal, and it is a full signal strength of 15 blocks. However, it only puts it out for 1 tick, and it does it when it notices a change in whatever is this block. So if you plant a crop and make that crop grow, it will check every single time that crop changes. It will know, and it will send out a signal. If you place a block, you just saw it flashed right there. Now if I power a block, because powering a block with a button, you have it turning on and then it turning off, you're going to actually get 2... Apparently you can't just power any old block and have it sense it. However, you should be able to power a lamp. Yeah. So it flashes both at the on and at the off. So you noticed that. Now we get to droppers and dispensers. Now the difference between these is a half circle or a full circle, or it's like a smiley face and an O-shaped mouth. Here, they work similarly but slightly differently, and those differences, if you're doing certain things, you won't notice a difference. So I'll just stick some concrete in here. You get it spat out. It's just a block getting spat out either way, and you get it in your inventory as a block. However, if instead of concrete I were to put in, say, a splash potion into there, and a splash potion into here, you're going to see that I got the item dropped, so I picked it up. However, here you're going to see the item gets thrown, because it is a splash potion, and dispensers will dispense it, and so you'll get it thrown out. And the same thing goes for arrows. If I stick arrows into each of these, I get an item, and I get shot. And then you have a similar situation with both water buckets and lava buckets. We'll just demonstrate with the water bucket. This will spit out a water bucket, so I have it in my inventory, whereas this will dispense water. So depending on what you want to do, you can just choose which one you use. Similarly, if you use bone meal and you have a crop here, this will spit out bone meal, and I'll get bone meal in my inventory, whereas this will use bone meal on the crop and make it grow up. Now something to note, there's 28 in there. If I press this and press this and press this, it won't use any bone meal, because this is a fully grown plant and it can't use it to make it grow up. So you won't waste bone meal trying to use it on things that you can't use it on. It will just stay in the dispenser. So if you're using it on, say, a log after a tree has grown, or you're using it on a fully grown wheat plant, it's not going to get used up, which is a nice feature that they did add in. Fire charges also would get shot just like arrows. So next thing we get to is a button. I've actually, as you've noticed, used a button a few different times to demonstrate things. But there are two different buttons, and it's good to know the difference. There's wooden buttons, and there's a lot of different buttons, actually, as you can see here. However, all wooden buttons work the same, and then both stone buttons work the same. So black stone and stone work the same. So this is a 10-tick button, and it gives you 10 ticks of power, and then it turns back off. This, I believe, is a 15-tick button, so it's a slightly longer button with a wooden button. So if you want something to happen a little bit longer, say it's a door and you have trouble getting through it in 10 ticks, you can use a wooden button and you can have a little bit longer to get through that door. Pressure plates work just like buttons, except instead of pressing them by right-clicking on them, you step on them. Or you can put items on them sometimes, and we'll get into that. So, stone pressure plates and wooden pressure plates are basically the same when it comes to stepping on them, but stone pressure plates do not turn on if you stick an item on them. Wooden pressure plates do. Again, all wooden pressure plates and all stone pressure plates work like all stone pressure plates and all wooden pressure plates. Now we have heavy weighted pressure plates and we have light weighted pressure plates. And they work the same as a wooden pressure plate, where you can stick items on them, or objects, and people, and monsters, and things, and it will send out a signal. However, as you notice, instead of putting out a signal of 15 like this did, these only put out a signal of 1 when I throw a single piece on them. Heavy pressure plate, I don't know how much it takes to get to a signal strength of 2. I know it takes multiple entities, like zombies or skeletons or something. But as far as stacks of items, I've put 9 stacks of items on it, and it hasn't turned into a signal strength of 2. However, if I just stick 3 full stacks onto a light-weighted pressure plate, I actually end up with a signal strength of 3 already. And it looks like 2 stacks is a signal strength of 2. So each stack, or each entity, is a full signal strength. So if I had a second person also stand on here, it would become a signal strength of 2. So that's just useful to know. I haven't actually used those in a lot of systems yet, but they are functional and they're kind of cool. This is a redstone lamp. When it gets power, it turns on. When it's not powered, it's off. So it works just like glowstone, except it has to have power to be turned on. Now you can do something to constantly power it if you just always want it on, but you can also run it into a system, whether it's a lever or a pressure plate or a button or target block or whatever, to make it be on for a certain purpose and then off when you don't want it on. Now, one of the places I like to use these a lot is in mob farms where I have a spawner. If I want to be able to turn off the spawner so that it won't spawn entities, I just stick these on each of the walls, run power to them, and I can turn them on at will so that the spawner can't spawn. But when I want to have the spawner creating bad guys for me to kill for experience or for items, I just turn it on and it works. Note blocks are an interesting block. They are in the redstone family, but they don't do a lot of redstone, but you do power them with redstone to get a sound out of them. So if I come over here and I give it power, you'll notice every time I give it power, it makes a sound. Now I can change the pitch of the sound by just right-clicking on it, and it eventually will loop back to the bottom, and then it will go up all the way through, just like so. Now if I want to change the sound of the block, and I don't know what all blocks actually their sounds are, let's see. So see that's a different sound than we've been getting. And so different types of blocks have different sounds. I don't know what blocks different, or what sounds different blocks have. But just know that they do have different sounds, and you can look up what they do. So that's fun and interesting. Now we get to pistons. Now pistons are useful. They push other blocks. And how they push those blocks varies depending on whether it's a sticky piston or a normal piston. Now a normal piston will push a block, and then that block will be where that block is forever and always. So you can keep pushing blocks, and pistons do have a maximum push distance. I forget what it is, so let's find out really quickly. we're going to quickly put down a... So 1, 2, 3. That's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, so 12. So it has a maximum push limit of 12, so it can push 12 blocks. However, a sticky piston, when it pushes a block, it'll pull it right on back. So you pull items back and forth with a sticky piston. Now, this can especially be useful if you are using slime blocks. Now, something interesting about slime blocks is slime blocks stick together. So you can push all of those blocks. And when you have a push limit of 12 blocks, which you do with both sticky pistons and regular pistons, that means that I can push this entire setup right here, because it's 8 iron blocks plus 4 slime blocks, and that whole thing can go up and down, and it will just always stick with this piston. Whereas if it was over here, it would move up, and then it would just stay there. So, that's a cool thing to know. Now we come over here. This is a tripwire. Tripwires work much like buttons, except that they have a lot more interesting way of working. So as you can see, that gets turned on when I go past this string. And that can happen over long distances. So I can actually, if I put the tripwire all the way over here, and then I just get some more string, I can be all the way over here turning on that circuit over there. And there's a maximum length of this string. I forget how far it is, but clearly you have some distance here. So that's good to know. This is a daylight sensor. Daylight sensors are also interesting. They put out signal depending on whether it is day or night, and the signal strength depends on where the sun or the moon is in the sky. And so as you can see right now, our time of day, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. A signal strength of 9. But that signal strength will change as the sun moves through the sky. However, it seems like we either have clouds or something. I don't know why we're not seeing... let's make it night. So at night, it isn't on at all. Now it's got some signal strength. And now it's got more signal strength. See how when I turned it to noon, which is midday, it comes all the way to here. So it's powered based on how strong the signal strength is. I mean, sorry, on where the sun is positioned in the sky. This is a target block. Target blocks are interesting in a couple of different ways. For starters, they actually have the ability to take a redstone signal and move it into multiple different directions. So if I want to power these two droppers, I can do that by sending a signal into here. Although I feel like I could do that with a block. Couldn't I do that with a block? I can't do that with a block. I don't really understand exactly what the interesting part is. But my understanding is target blocks do have the ability to redirect signal. However, the other interesting feature of them is if you shoot them with a bow, how strong the signal is that comes out is determined by where you hit it. So if I hit it over here, that was a signal strength of 5. And if I hit it here, that's a signal strength of much more than 5. And so the closer you are to the bullseye, the stronger the signal strength is. And the further away you are, the less it is. But you can get a signal strength off of it by shooting the target block, which is interesting and a cool feature for various different mechanics, especially if you ever wanted to build an archery range, but also if you want to have competition, like competitive things where you have to get a certain shot in order to open a door or something like that. So it's kind of cool. Also, I do believe, well, yeah, there you go. This is a hopper. Hoppers go ahead and send items through hoppers, and they will take items from above. So if you just drop an item on it, it will suck it up, and it will try to send it along. So right now, it's not sending it anywhere because it's currently pointed into an iron block, so it's all still inside of it. However, if that was another hopper, or if that was a chest, or the shulker box, or a dropper, or a dispenser, or whatever, it would send it into that. And so that can be very useful for moving items around without needing to actually move items around. Also, if there isn't a block on top that contains items, it will suck them out one at a time per tick. And that will allow you to take items out of a chest that you put in and have it move to another place. So it's a pretty nice feature to have. It allows you to do a lot of different things. And yeah, so that is every single redstone component in the game that is part of the redstone set here. The other things are doors and gates. Just know that redstone will open doors and gates. Redstone is actually the only way to open iron doors and iron trapdoors. You cannot open them by right-clicking on them, but other doors and gates and things you can open, but this you can open them with redstone as well. The other thing is TNT. TNT explodes. You can use flint and steel on it, or you can give it a redstone signal, or you can dispense it from a dispenser, actually. Since we're now done with everything else, let's go ahead, and you can see that will explode. So that's a pretty nifty thing to know. You can explode TNT with redstone. So that is our quick little redstone tutorial. I hope it was helpful for some of you. I know it's very basic and most people know most of these things, but not everybody does. So I thought I would go over that really quickly, especially since I was having trouble figuring out what to do as my tutorial. So here we are, and I hope it's helpful. Thank you so much for watching, though. And remember, folks, don't get trapped without me. Bye-bye.